That in the last video what we did was we imported this table, that is the full record of sales, and we performed some transformations using the Power Query editor. We are now going to pull in two other sheets, or we'll call them tables, and then we're going to relate those sheets using the PowerPivot Manage tool to this sheet. So let's go to Data, Get Data. I'm going to pull in the same file, VDAN, and import. And the other two sheets do not need any transformation. They are small and they are really reference sheets. Every agent has an ID, and then he or she has further detail. So I'm going to choose Select Multiple Items, choose the agent, plus I'm going to click on Category and choose the category. Click Load To. I always suggest Load To for the following reason. When this comes up, you must have the option of, and of course it has chosen it by default because I did it last time, but you must have the option of turning that on. Plus, I do not recommend creating a connection, but some people do. I like to pull in the entire table, obviously at the expense of using more resources. So here we go, pulling them both in, the agent and category, pulling them both in. Not a lot of data there, but you'll see, there we go, category ID, agent ID. I'm going to double click this and call this agent. I'm going to double click that and call it category. Okay. Now I need to go to my PowerPivot ribbon, and I'm going to go to Manage. And what happens here with Manage is that it invokes the PowerPivot window, and I'm able to manage the data. Sales, agent, category. Watch here. We're looking at data. Up here we can look at diagram view, and if I place sales, I like to do this, it's not critical, but just to give it a kind of spatial relevance, I like to put the main table in the middle and then the reference tables on the side. In this case, I've designed my fields in a way that lends to the obvious. So category ID can be dragged onto category ID over there, thus creating a relationship between my reference table, a one-to-many relationship, and my sales table. So one category will obviously be involved in many sales. Likewise, agent ID gets connected to agent ID over there. So we have two relationships. I can go back to data view over here. Everything is fine. And in fact, I could generate my pivot table straight from Microsoft Power Pivot. One can close this and one can go to back to the actual Excel files, but they are now connected, as it were, joined at the hip, so one can operate from any area. Just something, by the way, I like to create a measure here. So let's go to income and just do an auto sum of income. This will become more apparent later when we do KPIs. Likewise, let's create another measure here for target, and let's generate auto sum on the target. All right, there we go. All right, so sum of income, sum of target. If we widen those columns, we'll see it'll give the entire amount, 40 million there. Target was 40 million, and the actual income was only 14 million. They were far short of target, but that will become more apparent later. So let's go and generate the pivot table itself. Pivot table, and it will offer me what is normally offered. I would always recommend a new worksheet. Click on OK. And here we need to be very careful. I'm going to collapse my ribbon just to give me some more vertical space. But here we need to be very careful. All the tables are presented, but these are without relationships and these are with relationships. And notice that there is the database symbol there. Okay, the little barrel, some people call it a ring. Okay. Only work with these. Do not work with these because these are not related. Okay. So we're only going to work with these. Now watch. What we do is we go to agent. We can pull agent name from the agent. It relates to the other file, the other sheet, and we can put income. So here I have a summary of income per agent over there. So that's my first pivot table, just to show you how they relate to one another. Of course, I can go to pivot table analyze and I can create a pivot chart based on that, and there's my pivot chart. In addition to which, I can now in fact insert a filter or a slicer, and the slicer will then involve other fields. Please always remember to click on the All button because we're dealing with more than one table here. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want to look at category as a slicer. Okay, plus I want to look at the agent's office. When I say agent's office, that's the area that he operates or she operates from. So here we go. There's the office. Okay, and here's the here's the category. All right, I'm just going to make the slicer smaller, and here's the category. Okay, so for example, if I click back in the pivot table and click Bloemfontein, there, Jones's sales in Bloemfontein. Okay, if I click books and literature, all right, Mulder is the only guy selling books and literature, so I'm seeing quite a lot of useful data over here.